Alright, man. Let's get going with this PvP build. So, oh shit, yeah, okay. Let me just put that in here. He's not fully built out yet, but it's good enough for now. But yeah, let's go over the gear real quick, and then I'll talk a little bit about how I or what I've done exactly here. But yeah, let's start with the skillers. So I definitely do need a couple of upgrades in terms of a couple of better ones. These three right here, I would like to get them swapped out for something in the 30s or 40s. Um, but yeah, it's all skillers with life basically. Um, yeah. For some reason I have a Geats on, which definitely not meant to have that on. So yeah, we still need a couple more skillers to really finish it off. But other than that, yeah, he's pretty decent on the gear. So we got a 2019 Torch, we got a 2020 Annie, um, uh, some life and resist charms. Yeah, some pretty basic stuff here, not something too crazy. Of course, we're using the Triangle's gloves. We got a 10 faster cast ring with Dex. Uh, this has life as well and poison rest, but that's really the Dex I wanted. We got a perfect arachnids. Um, we have a all res Dex ring, which this one I switch out in term or depending on who I'm fighting. So let's say I'm fighting somebody who's a fire sword, then I'll swap to Dwarf Star, or if I'm fighting somebody who's a lightning sword, I'll swap out for Wisp Protector. It's a 2018. Um, or if I'm fighting a cold sword, I'll swap out for Raven Frost, or whatever fits who I'm fighting, basically, right? So we got a perfect Hodo, we got a decent Enigma. Sadly, it only rolled 763. I would have hoped for 770 plus, but it is what it is. We got the Spirit Monarch. Still need to re-roll this one. But I am gonna switch it out for a 15 ED one I have, and then hopefully I'll be able to roll that perfectly. So at the moment I'm using the Marrow Walk boots, but again I will switch those out depending on what I'm doing. So if I need more rest, I'll put on these tri-res boots. If I need more dex and life, I'll put on these water walks, and if I need more poison resist, then I'll use the sandstorm dregs. So that kind of depends on again who I'm fighting. Um, and then we got the amulet. This one is only a 1 skill, 20 faster cast, but it got 18 dex on it. It's something I rolled myself. So basically the upgrade for this one would be if I could get a 220 with 18 dex, that would be number one. But at the moment I haven't been that lucky, so I'm still rolling for that. We got a 220 Tiara with 22 strength, 15 dex, and then the rune gives me 15 Allres. So pretty GG, I would say. could still be a tiny bit better if it had 30 faster run walk instead of the uh, cold damage, or if it had more resistance instead of the cold damage. That would have been absolutely perfect. But it's more than good enough for what I'm doing here. Of course, we got a CTA 564 and a bow spirit. I do have a couple of other things that aren't super good or anything, but you know what I mean. Perfect Shaco. Yeah, I don't know why I kept this one. I kept it because I was hoping that someday maybe we would get a way to put more sockets on an item, and if we ever do, so this could go, let's say if it could go 3 sockets, and there would, then we get a rune word at some point, which makes for a better offhand than spirit, then that's why I kept it, because the roll on the stats on this one is absolutely outrageously good. It doesn't get much better than that. If you can find a wand that has those same rolls in terms of the skills, that would be absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm not personally using the white wand, just because I tried it out, but I really don't like it. I prefer the Hodo, the res, the faster cast, dex, and the replenish life, and the Oak Sage is all very, very useful for PvPing, right? So that's why I prefer the Hodo over a white wand. Also have a couple of other random amulets that aren't the best by any means, but it's just stuff I kept until I get the perfect one. Yeah. So that's basically the gear. I do have a mercenary, but I never really use him unless I'm trying to level up. I try for the most part to let him die and then just keep him dead until I have to level. So the reason I got him right now is because I literally just got to 97 with this build, and to max out your skills, it takes quite a bit of levels for this specific one. So the way I put out the skills is I use the clay golem. I have 1 point into golem mastery, 1 point into the summon resist, and this one comes from one of my items from the marrow walks. So that's why it's highlighted, or it looks like I put something in here, but I never did. For the offensive skills, so you max out teeth, we max out bone spear and bone spirit, and since all of the synergies or the synergies is bone wall and bone prison, along with teeth and whatever, depending on which one you're looking at, right? So for the teeth, we get the bone wall, the spear, the spirit, and the prison. That's 4 different skills. So basically, we have to fill out all 5, right? But it's quite. I'm level 97 right now, and yeah, the teeth is maxed, the spear is maxed, the spirit is maxed, and the prison is maxed. But I'm still missing 1 skill to max out the bone wall. So I technically need to be level 98 to have the maximize the damage and have the most amount of skills I can have for this build. So I tend to use the Decryptify because it slows enemies down, and it really does help when you're fighting certain builds. But for the most part, I don't use it. It's only if I fight, like, let's say an Amazon or something, somebody who doesn't teleport, then it becomes very, very useful. Just to slow them down a tiny bit so you can catch them easier. that's basically it for the skills, right? Like that's how you would do it. So technically we are missing one skiller, and we're missing one skill in the amulet. And for that reason, we aren't at like skill level 45, but it still does a ton of damage, right? So the spears is 5k damage, and the spirits is 6k damage basically, and the teeth is like 1,000 damage roughly per teeth. So it's really, this is really, really, really good. You can use them in a in terms of the grinding. When you're solo, you can tell like I'm killing them, right? Like it's not hard or anything. But on players 8, it's really a little bit rough, because although they buff this, it's just not that good against monsters compared to how it just deletes players, right? Like players are getting murked with this build.
I am overburdened.
Yeah, so basically for the most part, the way I would do it is I use the spirits and the teeth to send a line. So I'll send a line, and then I'll teleport forward, and then I'll hit them with the spears. Or if I feel like they're coming up on me, what I'll do is I'll hit the teeth both ways, and then the spears, and then tele. That's my main tactics for controlling this. Yeah, and if you can hit them with just one of the teeth and stun them real quick, then it becomes a lot easier to hit them with the spear. Right? And they become invisible, but they keep doing damage even though they're invisible. Right? So they can catch you off the screen. And I've been caught like that a couple of times on my assassin when I've been fighting necromancers. It's one of those things where it's 50-50 if you win or die, or win or lose with the assassin against the necromancer. It's just not every time you can do it, because you get caught off guard with those invisible spirits, and they are really damaging. Yeah, let me think. We got this 5 skill bone spirit offhand, which I just kept it for aesthetics, like or not aesthetics. It's called. It's like for me, it's like a trophy, because it's one of those things that are really, really, really hard to find. It's rare that you spawn 5 skill that's useful on these. So when I found this, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely keeping that. Not that I ever would use it, but it's just a cool item. That's why I kept it. Yeah, that's basically the build. So if this helped you out, I really hope it did. Let's go over the some of the stats here. So we got 75 all res. We got the in terms of life, we got 1300 right now, but after I bow myself like this, we got 2200, and then putting up the spirit gives me 2700. So once I get the last skillers, we should be over 3k health, and over 3k health with 5k damage basically, right? It's fairly good. It's really good, to be honest. I think it's really, really good. So I still need the 1 level in order to max out my skills fully and get the last percentages and max out the damage, but it's pretty close, I would say. So we got some stats here. 60 faster hit recovery, because we don't really need the 86 anymore with the new patch, after they patched out the next hit delay and all that stuff. So that's why I've lowered, because I used to have it at 86, but now I've lowered it to 60. and it still feels really good at 60. So that's, in my opinion, decently. Yeah, and that's about it, man. That's the build. We got max block, of course, which is the reason for me putting so much stacks on my gear. Is it takes quite a bit of investment. You can see I put 200 points into dexterity, or 210 points or something like that into dexterity, which is quite a bit, taking out of the life pool. So for that reason, we stack as much dexterity on the gear as physically possible, right? Yeah. What more? Did I miss anything? I'm pretty sure I covered everything here. But yeah, that's my build for my PvP Bone Necromancer. I know there's a couple of things I could definitely upgrade for it. Not a lot though, but there is still a couple of things that I wouldn't mind getting better, to basically to maximize the damage output and to maximize the amount of resistances and dex I have on the gear. Yeah. But this build, as I said, does really do a ton of damage, and it really wrecks a lot of the. It's the best, in my opinion. It's probably one of the best PvP builds you can have. It does take quite a bit of practice to get good with. I am hella rusty. I have not been PvPing a lot, so I'm really rusty. But I have done some PvPing, right? Like I have been making some lobbies and public lobbies and just asked people to come PvP or challenge me or whatever. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one. And I can highly recommend it for a PvP build. It's definitely up there in the S tier. I don't know if I would rank other builds in the same category as this. I feel like this is just the tippy top of the cake, right? Like it is slightly above everything else, in terms of the good builds. But it does have weaknesses. It does have certain things that it's not super good against. And that's basically why I got the assassin as well, because whatever he can take out, the assassin usually can. And both vice it goes for the same for the assassin. Whatever the assassin can take out, usually he can. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll come back for another video and check it out. And that's gonna be it for me. So have a lovely day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.